Well, hello, I'm Dr. Alan Widener from Massage Chair Relief, and welcome to our first inaugural live stream for Massage Chair Relief Live. I'm excited to do this. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, and we finally made it happen. And our first guest is a fellow that I've known for quite a while in the industry. I'd consider him a friend through our associations over the years. Jim Coppins is the president and COO of Infinity Massage Chairs. Welcome, Jim. It's good to have you.
Thank you, Doctor. It's good to be on. I didn't realize this was the inaugural, so I feel pretty honored to be breaking the ice with you.
Well, I think I figured if I got somebody I felt really comfortable with and it's screwed up, I know you'd be understanding and you'd forgive me. And you'd
Absolutely.
and you'd still allow us to sell your chairs for you. But so having said that, this is the inaugural issue, or if you will, or broadcast. There's probably going to be some wrinkles along the way that we'll have to deal with, and hopefully everything works out right. But it might take a little so at one moment or another as we try to switch some screens and things like that. We'll hopefully make it out, it'll work out fine. But we're going to be giving away my book. This is I just published it. It's the second edition of the Ultimate Massage Chair Buyer's Guide, and my first one was out. I put out, I think, in 2005 or not 2009. Sorry, 2009 or something like that. And it was it was not an evergreen book because it talked about models that we don't even sell anymore, talked about issues and concerns that we don't even have really anymore. And it didn't address new concerns that we have. This book is more of an evergreen book, so it should last for a while because the information here is apropos for, I would suspect, for years to come. Now, the chair, the book, we're going to be giving that away at the end of the broadcast. If any of you are interested we have a software with our live stream that actually does the giveaway. It randomly selects people who have entered comments. Now you can enter a comment. You can ask questions, of course, to myself or to Jim during this broadcast. If you put in #book, then we'll know that you are interested in getting for the drawing for the book. But anyways, that's our housekeeping to begin with. And Jim, let's start first of all. I'd like to go way back and talk a little bit about Infinity and the history of Infinity and how you came to the point where you're selling massage chairs. I know that you and Michael had your fingers in other pies for a while, and then but I would be interested to know how you got into the massage chair thing. And obviously the massage chairs have become your mainstay. And I'd like to know a little bit about that. And we'd like to know about that.
Absolutely. It's an interesting story. Michael and I previously, and still are to a small degree, are in the outdoor LED sign business with another company that we own. And back in 2009, Michael and I were walking the trade show for that business, the ISA, the International Sign Association trade show. And we came around the corner, and we were, I'll say, two middle-aged guys at that point with suspect backs. And we turned the corner, and there was a gentleman selling massage chairs at this trade show. So Michael and I said, after walking miles and miles on concrete floors, we said, why don't we take a load off, take a break, and sit down and get a massage? And so, long story short, when we got up out of those chairs, we said to ourselves, what a potential concept. We could make a business selling massage chairs and changing people's lives and making people feel better and make a business out of it at the same time. And that truly was what launched the concept of Infinity massage chairs. And then it took us a little bit. That was right at the end of 2009, about right at the end of at fourth quarter of 2010 was when we really started to sell massage chairs. And then as I think a couple of years later, we got involved with each other, and from there it's taken off quite nicely.
Yeah, you guys have really carved out your niche in this industry, and most people know about Infinity massage chairs. when I started in '05, or my first massage chair I had in '03, I think, but '05 is when I started the business. There really weren't many games in town. There was pretty much Human Touch and a few Panasonic and Sanyo chairs out there. I think Inata may have even had a New York office at that time, but there was no active distribution of chairs. And so there wasn't much to pick from. So you coming into the market in '09 or 10, 11, you were kind of there in the beginning of the ramping up of the popularity of massage chairs in the United States. So you guys have been around a while and you've seen a lot of change. One of the things that I've noticed,
I'm not sure we're quite as ramped up as we'd like to be. I think you and I both are still probably amazed to this day of the lack of awareness of the benefits of massage and what massage chairs can bring to just about anybody you meet on the street. So I think we're getting there, but we're still a long way. I always say, on the bell curve, like I still feel we're just about at the launching point for a steep incline.
well, and as you and I both know, the industry and the market has become quite saturated with new chairs, no name or off brand, no name chairs, chair brands, new models from all the main chair brands, more retailers out there. It's becoming an extremely competitive market, and we welcome that because it brings out the cream of the crop in terms of retailers and in terms of quality chairs. And we're going to talk a little bit about pricing. But you have a comment?
No, I would agree with you on that. It's kind of a catch-22 because unfortunately there are a lot of what you would call no-name brands, and it's in like any industry that's somewhat in its infancy. Some of those no-name brands can potentially leave a bad taste in people's mouth, where they sell a product that they can't support. They sell a product and in 24 months or 12 months, the company's no longer in existence, and the chair breaks, and then they have a product that they paid for that they can't use. I mean, you've seen it, Dr. Widener, with what manuals that are half English and half in another language that's hard to understand. The remotes don't operate the way they're supposed to, and that's a result of people saying, "Oh, this looks like a great product to sell. Can I get in the massage chair business?" Not understanding what's truly involved. As you and I both know, what operates a mid-level massage chair, there's a significant amount of technology in that, and to deliver that to the customer on a platform that's going to operate well and that you can support on the back end is a significant adventure. And there's not a lot of people that understand that, and a lot of kind of fly-by-night companies come into the massage chair business and then are gone, a year or two later. And I believe you've talked about that over the years, and that's the only downside. I would agree that it brings the cream of the crop. I mean, in my world, there's really only 2, 3, maybe 4 of us that are what I would call legitimate organizations in the massage chair world today. So, and you certainly know who those are.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing is that the lower priced chairs, even if they're no name brand or off brand chairs names, they're cheap enough chairs. And of course, the quality of the build is not great. And the support is virtually non-existent on a lot of those chairs. Parts are hard to come by, et cetera, et cetera. And they don't have in-home warranties, et cetera, et cetera. But it brings people into the market. And that's something I like. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the cheap chairs because I've had enough phone calls from people saying, I bought this chair. It doesn't work. The people aren't answering the phone. There's no email, whatever. And I get tired of hearing that because it's a reflection of the
industry,
of that portion of the industry.
Yeah.
And but it gets people in the market, and for that I'm grateful. And then they'll think, well, you know what? And I've had customers like this that'll say, you know what? I'm getting rid of this chair. We had a recent interview with a customer, Francis Edrick, who had he bought a chair. It was actually it was a company from out of Utah. They're not in business anymore, but they were like a flash in the pan. They skyrocketed sales online, and then they were gone. And we had call after call because I have a Utah showroom. I live in Utah. I had multiple calls of people complaining about the ability to get support. And so they ended up coming to the showroom, and some of them bought upgraded chairs. But anyways, That gives people a pretty good view of what's going on in the industry in terms of the wide spectrum of options and quality of chair and quality of support.
Yeah,
I might.
I certainly agree with you. I mean, the biggest challenge in the industry today is the lack of awareness of what massage therapy will do for the end user, and any chair is better than no chair. And if it gets them to understand and sends them down the road to encompassing massage in their daily program and their health and wellness, it's a good thing. What obviously what happens from there, who knows? But in the long run, most people, I think in the massage chair world, it's probably more prevalent than any other industry. That the truth is you get what you pay for. So when you buy a chair for $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, you typically are not getting a good product, and you're typically not getting a product that's going to have support in the long run. So, but at least it gets them on the road to understanding what massage therapy will do for them.
You know, what's interesting is a $2,000 chair was that was a high-end chair back when I started. You know, I had an old HT 125. That chair I think was 1895 or 1995 or 1999, and that was an expensive chair at that time. And now the market has changed so much, and that actually leads into my question for you. You're seeing chairs upwards of $10,000 now. What's the big deal? Like, why? I mean, I understand there's inflationary pressures in play, but these $10,000 prices began some time ago. But tell me what your take is on that. I know you've got some chairs that are in that higher price range. What's your take on that?
Well, if you go back in time, doctor, and you look at some of those chairs, you know, back in 2010, 2011, compared to the technology today, excuse me, I mean, it's truly light years apart. You know, things like reflexology and the feet rollers, and you know, we started out with 2D technology, you know, where the rollers just went back and forth and up and down, and then there was 3D technology where you were able to control the intensity of the mechanism, where you could bring it out and get a more aggressive massage for a user, or you could recede the rollers and make it softer and accommodate somebody who was more frail or didn't like a stronger massage. Then we went to 4D technology, where you had that same 3D capability, but you also had varying speeds within the mechanism. So the technology from start to finish across the entire chair, I mean, there's you know, there's chromotherapy, there's you know, we have programs built on that. There's sound therapy in the chairs. There's aromatherapy in the chairs. There's air ionizers. I mean, our latest chair, I think you may have one of them in one of your showrooms. We now have what we call, from 2D, 3D to 4D, what we have syner-D, where a massage chair used to have one mechanism running up and down. And we've gone to the point where we have two sets of mechanisms. One's working basically from your lower back and your glutes up in your neck and shoulders. And then there's another whole mechanism on the bottom underneath working your glutes. And they work in synchrony to each other. And that's what we call syner-D technology. So it's compared to what, you know, a chair back in 2010, it's almost like getting two massage chairs for the price of one. And it's really that development in an all-encompassing technology that's got us from where we were 13 years ago from where we are today. The technology has just come so far. I mean, I'm not sure I know of anything else we could compare it to today in a technology industry, other than maybe AI, from the developments that we've had in the marketplace. I mean, you know, the calves, I mean, it's really just, when you sit in a massage chair today, I always say, somebody would say a $10,000 massage chair is expensive until they actually sit in a $10,000 massage chair. And then their response usually is, I think it should cost more.
Yeah. Well, once you experience the chair, there's it changes your paradigm. You know, all of a sudden, like, people will come in looking for a $2,000, $3,000 chair, and I come into our showrooms, and I've seen multiple occasions where they end up buying an $8,000 to $10,000 chair because it just feels so much better because of the advancements. It's not just in the technology; it's advancements in the ergonomic designs of the chairs, the material that the chairs are made out of. There's a lot that goes into the different feel and the superior feel of these things.
Absolutely. And I know you know who David Figler is. David Figler is our executive vice president of product development and brand management. David came from Brookstone, where he was vice president of product development at Brookstone over in Merrimack, New Hampshire. And I tell our new hires that come on board that literally everything in our product before it comes to market gets gone through. The look, the feel, the finish, the stitching, the fabric, what features we want to incorporate, what features we're not going to incorporate, how those features operate, how they function, when, etc. And it's when you put it all together, that's what delivers a product like you're talking about. When somebody sits in that chair, and there's only, in my opinion, a couple of us from a brand perspective that do that. When you sit in that chair, you say this chair is worth $10,000 or this chair is worth $15,000.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. I just want to mention that we've got one of our viewers is Tyler Collins from England. Nice to have you, Tyler. I forget sometimes that our social media and website platforms extend around the world. So it's good to have you. And we've got someone
8 o'clock over there in England.
Yeah, what time is it in England right now?
Probably, I think they're about 6-8 hours ahead of us.
And then we've got a customer or a viewer who's a customer of Infinity. He has an 8500 and the Luminary syner-D. Gator from Florida. I love the name, Gator Cruiser from Florida. Anyway, it's good to have you all on the call. I just want to ask you, the syner-D technology, I call them split tracks because it takes an L track and cuts it in half virtually. It's not quite in half, but they cut it into 2 different tracks. And so now you've got the chair that has the capacity to get rollers on the neck and upper back and mid back, and then you've got rollers that work on the low back and the butt. This is kind of the latest, greatest technology, and I know you've integrated this in a number of your chairs. Are there, and we've got different split track chairs in our showrooms, but every chair feels different, even if it has a similar technology or the same gist of the technology, like a split track. The chairs can feel so very different. But have you done anything with your syner-D chairs that maybe differentiates that split track hardware from other models, or from even within your own model lineup?
Well, I think historically, Doctor, that we've typically been an innovator. We've usually brought technology to market first. And I always say that, people always don't like to hear it, but the iPhone was really the first touchscreen. And I think most people agree that the interface and the touchscreen on an iPhone is more responsive than any other product out there. And I feel like when we bring technology to market, there's a lot of copycats. And ultimately the Infinity product is known to be whether you want to call it the Cadillac, the Mercedes, or the Bentley, the top of the line. And one thing I think we should point out, I think we'd be remiss for your listeners if we didn't touch upon it. I call split track technology really the holy grail of massage, because if you go through the history, 2D, 3D, 4D, syner-D, traditional massage chairs, as you know, went from your neck and your shoulders to your lower back. And that platform is, Doctor, like in our original 8500, the 8500 X3. I think I see you have a smart chair there in the background. I don't know if that's an X3 or not, but because the rolls went up and down your back, the seat frame was a different part of the frame than the back. So the chair had the ability to basically lie you flat and do a spinal decompression stretch. And we were always known to have the best stretch in the industry. And then when we went from the S track that went from your neck and shoulders to your lower back, when we went to the L track that went from your neck and shoulders down to your glutes, because that track rode on a solid frame, you lost the ability to lay the user out and do that spinal decompression stretch. With the split track, I think our split tracks, besides having that ability to massage both areas at the same time, our split track has that ability to lay you out and do an amazing spinal decompression stretch where you're getting the best of both worlds. You're getting the stretch, but you're also getting the glute massage of an L track. So
Right.
I think when we brought that to market, again, I believe we were the first. You probably know better than I do, but I think our technology is a step above the rest that's out there.
Yeah, and we're going to see more and more of it. I've heard of a couple of models recently that have been built in different factories. So I think imitation is a big thing in the manufacturing business, and
Absolutely.
especially massage chairs. So we're going to see more and more of it out there. But that's where the quality of the build comes into play, the quality of the support from the massage chair company, and you guys do have wonderful support. Those are the things it's just like me as a retailer. There's plenty of retailers out there, but what differentiates buying from me from someone else? So anyways, I would have to say that that is a game changer. I would say that, as you call it, the Holy Grail. I would agree with that.
Yeah. Oh, it absolutely is. And I mean, Doctor, and I know you've blogged about it. You know who Infinity is. Michael and I have always put the service on the back end, and our customer support has always been paramount. And for an organization as large as Infinity, with the amount of models that we have, it's very challenging from a supply chain logistics standpoint to be able to support all those models. And we pride ourselves on that. It's a bear. It's really a bear to stay on top of, but it's the folks behind the scenes that you know of. I think you mentioned it the last time we met in person, that you never have to deal with issues with Infinity, because if your customer has a problem, you know that they're going to be taken care of. And that's really the team in this building in New Hampshire. And I know you've been here. The folks in Infinity that drive the ship are the most amazing group of people I've ever worked with in my life. I always joke when I walk around and guys are out back, Doctor, working on massage chairs, and you know how complicated a massage chair looks when you open up the back. And I'll walk by and I'll say to them, I say, "You guys need a hand?" And they either laugh or they look at me with that confused puppy dog look. And I say, "Well, I can hold the flashlight, because they're so complicated. That's about all I can do." But it's those folks that make us who we are today. It's me and Michael kind of guide the ship, but it's the team that makes it happen.
Yeah. You got a good team and a big team, and yeah, it's you've got a good business there. I've been out to your place, like you say, in New Hampshire. It's very beautiful. You can see in the background. I mean, look at all the trees. It's gorgeous back there. My daughter lives in New Jersey and says that the biggest drawback of living there is that she never sees the sunset because of all the trees. And I'm thinking, well, there's a trade-off, isn't there? I wouldn't mind more trees around here. Now, Jim, one thing that I like about your chairs is the way, and not all of your models have this, I understand, but I like the way that. Oh, by the way, we've got Michael from Germany on this as well, and welcome, Michael. It's good to have the European contingent here. Anyways, one thing I like about the Genesis Max, the Luminary, is the combination of the calf rollers and the oscillating, or what I call kneading, airbags. That's something that I think calf rollers on their own don't do it. You don't feel a lot with them because you're not having gravity pull your legs against the rollers like you do with your feet or your back. But when you've got airbags that compress and they're oscillating, my goodness, that is a wonderful feeling.
Yeah, it's again, when you haven't sat in the product, you don't know what you're missing, and that's probably one of our greatest strengths. Our whole kind of calf and lower extremity massage, between the reflexology and the foot rollers. Most of our products have 3 foot rollers, and the mechanism that makes up what we call our total calf. Like you said, most people will have an airbag or maybe rollers, and we have a whole system where you have rollers on the back of the calf. we have the airbag system for compression, and then we have the calf oscillation. And when you put all those three together and have them work on your calves and your feet, most people don't want to get out. I don't know if you ever heard the story, Dr. Widener, but my wife originally wasn't a big fan of massage either. She liked to get massages, but she didn't necessarily want one in the house because she didn't like the way they looked. And it's kind of a funny story. When we were developing, I think it was late 2011, when we were working on the first kind of three roller reflexology technology, I said, honey, you should really come by the office and try this. It's pretty impressive. I think you'll like it. So she was in the chair, doctor, for literally like 30 seconds, and she said, "Oh my gosh, when are we getting one?" So it's really that much of a game changer.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Now your wife, maybe she'll get a chair from you.
Maybe she will. We continually upgrade, and then we give one away to friends or family, and then we get the latest. And I'm about to do that again. So.
There's a good question here from Derail. He or she asks, with the split tracks, are both sets of the rollers 3D, 4D, or could you explain that? Like, in other words, is the lower track and the upper track, do they both have the 3, 4D change?
Correct. That's a good question. It depends on the platform. Some do and some don't. Some on the lower track are only 2D because I think you mentioned earlier, doctor, when you have the weight of the person sitting on the rollers, you can kind of make them aggressive or put a pattern to make them softer. So some chairs will have 3D, 4D in both sets, or just 3D, 4D on the back set and 2D on the bottom set. So it really depends on the product and the platform. Yeah. But there is a variation in the industry.
Yeah. I find that when I'm sitting on an L-track chair, I notice the rollers under my butt, but they're not as noticeable as the rollers that are on my neck and shoulders or my mid-back. That's where I really can notice a difference in the intensity change. Mm-hmm. Speaking to your point that maybe just sitting on the rollers is enough, but that in some chairs that can be changed in the seat, because sometimes that seat roller mechanism goes up to the low back as well. And correct. So it's a little bit more than just the glute muscles, but I guess it varies from chair to chair. Now, just another comment from Tyler, which I do like. He talks about, it's good to have rollers in the feet, but it's good to have airbags. But do you have now? There's not as much needing of airbags in the feet. There's more of a transition or translation of your foot across the rollers on a lot of chairs by the airbags. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, really, it's the same type of a system when you're talking about the calf oscillation, where you have kneading rollers in the back, oscillation and compression therapy, when you're putting it all together to create that finished experience. And that's the same. It's the same way our foot system works, with the air compression working in conjunction with the foot rollers to get your feet in different positions on the rollers to optimize that reflexology. So it's that same progression from the early days when you didn't even have foot rollers to having foot rollers and then having them work in conjunction with the airbags for even a better experience.
Yeah. Well, and I felt, I've felt the chairs or the airbags in the chairs, when they move your feet across the rollers, it allows the rollers to touch a bigger surface area of your foot because they're not stuck in one place, but they move the feet across. And that, I do like that in seeing that in chairs. Some chairs, and I'm not speaking of your chairs, but some chairs, it's pretty much just straight up compression. There's not alternate, left and then right. So it's kind of translating that the sole of your foot across the rollers. But that, I think, before 3D and before the split track, I think foot rollers were like the ultimate breakthrough. Calf rollers haven't been as profound a change or impact as the foot rollers have.
Oh, I would agree. Absolutely.
Yeah, the foot rollers were a big deal. Now we're seeing more arm rollers. Is that anything that you're seeing in the future for Infinity chairs with arm rollers?
We had that in a model for a short while. It's something that we're currently still looking at, that we may bring back into the line. It wasn't, to be honest with you, it wasn't very well received in the marketplace, which was we thought was odd, because we thought it was a strong feature to incorporate. So it's something that we kind of, David Figler has in the R&D group, that we're working on, trying to see if we're going to bring it back in and incorporate it into some of our next models.
Yeah, we're seeing more of it. We're seeing more of it now, but it's still not as much as I thought we would see.
Mm.
I the idea, the feature of the rollers underneath the fatty muscle tissue of the
Mm.
arm, or of the forearm. But we'll see. But I'll be curious to see what you come out with in that regard. Now, what sorts of things now, this is my question to you as an industry, someone who's involved in the industry, not just selling a particular chair, but what do you foresee coming down the road in the massage chair manufacturing, or the massage chair business?
Uh, from a business perspective, I always try to keep technology a little close to our vest.
Mhm.
But from an industry perspective, it's the thing that we touched upon earlier, just the awareness, and where that's going to take the industry as a whole. It really today, I mean, with the health and wellness boom today, people starting to figure out that they only have one body, they better take care of it.
Yeah.
60 is the new 50, et cetera, et cetera. That you know, I think historically people look at massage as a treat, not a treatment. And massage therapy is really a treatment. Is You can probably quote the numbers better than I, doctor, but there's a stat out there that in the U.S. that stress predicates about 80% of all physical ailments out there. And when you incorporate massage therapy into your daily routine, or even a few times a week, and you reduce stress, you sleep better, you can lower your blood pressure, have better circulation, more flexibility. Like the benefits of massage are just about endless. And that old saying, high tide lifts all boats. I think from an industry perspective, for anybody really in the health and wellness boom, you're going to get a lift where that industry or that segment's going. And I certainly believe we feel that Infinity Massage Chairs is really kind of becoming the forefront of that health and wellness boom. I mean, doctor, I mean, you mentioned it, back in 2010 and 11, when we first started to do business with each other. When I used to tell people that we were moving into a new technology in massage chairs, a lot of people would look at you, that confused puppy dog look. What's a massage chair? And even if you were standing in front of 10 of them, they'd ask, what is that? What does it do? Where do you put it? And today you tend to get answers like, my brother has one, my neighbor has one. So I wouldn't say it's mainstream or commonplace, but it's like I mentioned, I feel like on that bell curve, the awareness is getting to a point where I feel like in the next, 2, 3, 4 years, we could really start to see a significant lift.
Yeah. Well, I'd heard numbers before that in Japan, they had 25% of the homes have a massage chair.
Mm-hmm.
And, you think about how big these things are, and I can't imagine, because of the cost of real estate in Japan, that houses are huge there, but they all have a massage chair. So I find that fascinating. And of course, we're not even close to that here in the United States,
Oh,
but we're
well,
getting there.
probably a fraction of 1%. But again, massage is an Asian therapy. Like that's where it came from. So as far as understanding the benefits of massage, they're obviously light years ahead of us. But I think with the emphasis on health and wellness, I mean, Doctor, I know you've heard the stories. We hear story after story where, you know, all they could do for me was surgery. I had nothing left but surgery, and then
Yeah.
they sat in a massage chair and they couldn't believe how good they felt, or they were taking 2 or 3 prescription drugs a day to get rid of their pain, and then they sat in a massage chair and it all went away. I mean, people just when that becomes mainstream, and I feel like we're getting there. It'll be a game changer for the massage chair industry.
Yeah, I think so. Um, I did a recent survey of people who had purchased chairs for me. I sent out a quiz, and I asked them what was the symptom or issue that you bought a massage chair to remedy or to address. And I listed all the different things, and I included things like relaxation, stress, better sleep, along with back pain, neck pain, headaches, sciatica, etc. And I was quite shocked to see that about 50% of the people that bought a massage chair bought it for relaxation, stress relief, better sleep, as opposed to the other half being symptomatic.
Yeah.
And that kind of surprised me because, being a chiropractor, that's how I got in the business in the first place. The people that were using massage chairs were people that hurt, and they were looking for some pain relief.
Yeah.
But obviously, the demographics changing. We're getting younger people buying the chairs. Demographic used to be like 45 to 70. Now it's 30 to 35 up to 55, 60 is the common demographic.
Absolutely.
And these are people that are still actively engaged in the workplace, that are still dealing with the stresses of family and money and career, not to mention the stress of starting to hurt from acting like idiots our entire lives playing sports that we didn't think twice about at the time, and now we're paying this price. But
I mean,
it's interesting to see how things have shifted.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, that's a great survey. How telling is that? But we've kind of, half-wittedly joked about it the last couple of years. Like after going through COVID, I mean, who isn't maxed out and stressed out these days? And
Yeah.
when you understand truly how horrendous stress is on your body, your psyche, and physically, stress reduction should be like a major factor that everyone addresses in their life. And we hear that all the time. That's a couple of the biggest reasons: stress reduction and better sleep, that people go out and look for massage relief. And a lot of times they'll start with massages, but as you know, to go out and get a couple of massages a week is an expensive endeavor. But buying a massage chair and getting a massage, 5, 6, 7 days a week becomes a lot more cost effective.
Yeah, I agree. Totally agree. And as a matter of fact, if you compare the cost of visiting a massage therapist, not that visiting a massage therapist is a bad thing, but just in terms of the numbers, and you're paying, maybe $60 to $80 for the massage, you leave a tip, plus the hassle of driving out and driving back, the cost of gas, having to get dressed up when you leave and whatnot. It ends up being an expensive hassle for many people. And so this is a very convenient way to do it at home.
Doctor, you kind of just told my story. So my wife has a physical ailment, and I've been in a position for a long time where, if my wife wanted to get a couple of massages a week and go out and pay for it, it wouldn't be an issue. But the headache and hassle, the woman that she used to like was, almost 50 minutes from our house, an hour there, parking, an hour back, an hour massage, you're oiled up, you come home, you have to shower. It's a half, 2/3 of your day. And literally, if I could get her there once a month, I was, with all my prodding possible, I was doing well. And now my wife is almost a couple of times daily. She'll often wake up and get a massage to help her body get moving. And a lot of times at the end of the day, she'll be in it again. And it's really changed her life.
Yeah, it's interesting. We have in the showrooms, we have people come in as couples looking to buy a chair, but it's, maybe for one of the couple, like one half of the couple. Oh, I'm just buying it for him, or we're buying it for her. I'm not really interested in it. And then I get feedback later that the person who the chair was purchased for can never get a bloody minute to sit in the chair because the spouse or the significant other is sitting in the chair. And Yeah, it's people may not think they're going to like a chair, but they end up loving it. And I want to just mention as a corollary to what I was talking about the quiz and survey that I took with my customers, 92% of them reported that they received relief for what they were. They received the expected relief that they wanted. 92%. That's not too bad. I
That's
was a chiropractor for 18 years. I don't think I had 92% success rate. As a matter of fact, I know I didn't.
I mean,
So that's pretty
yeah,
impressive.
that's incredible. I mean, doctor, historically, we initially built Infinity doing a significant amount of trade shows. So we for a number of years we had a constant in-person interaction with people who bought a massage chair and then they came back and saw us the next year. And the testimonials and the stories are just incredible at what it's done for people. And I wish there was a better way for us to get the word out there so people actually understood what a game changer massage therapy would be for them. But it's great to see. It's literally, we say we're changing lives one massage chair at a time, and it's truly what we're doing and what you're doing. And hopefully, like I said, it continues to take off.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't agree more. I like what you said earlier about it's not it's a treat versus a treatment. I've never heard that before. I like that. I'm going to use that if you don't mind. I'll give you credit. I'll give you credit for it.
I appreciate. I don't give me credit. I don't know where I heard it, but it may be from our national sales trainer Susan McCann. I think is where I heard it. But I mean, the George Burns story. George Burns was asked, how he lived to be so long, and he was sitting there with a big stogie and a dirty martini in his hand, and he goes, "I got a massage every day," and it changes your life.
Yeah, it really does. And people they don't think about it. It's just not something that's in their consciousness until they see something at a trade show or at a store or an advertisement online. Then it becomes an issue, something to consider. Someone, David Orshak, who's also on our call with us. Hello, David. Thanks for contributing. He's asking what makes Infinity massage chairs different. And we kind of addressed this a little bit earlier, but maybe just a summary statement, Jim. What makes you different?
Oh, well, the two things I've always said is we've always had a heightened emphasis on the quality of the product and the user experience, and obviously it's a health and wellness product. We're trying to change lives. So if it's not a quality product to achieve that end, then we feel like we've failed. So up front, that's always been paramount for us. And then on the backside, like again, we talked about Dr. Widener, our team in this building, the folks from order entry to tech support to the customer service group, to the shipping team, to the gentlemen in the warehouse that work on chairs. The people that make up this company, you've never seen a better group of people. My line, Dr. Widener, is, I come to work like you, and I'm usually dealing with problems and issues, right? When you sit at the top, and strategically trying to drive the ship. And one of the reasons why I love to come to work every day is the people in this building that make up what we call Family Infinity. And it's when you buy an Infinity massage chair, you're buying our product, but you're also buying the company. And we feel like we're the best in the industry on both of those fronts, the product and the team on the back end that make up Infinity.
Yeah, I appreciate you mentioning that. It brought just a couple of quick thoughts to my mind that support what you're saying. First of all, the factory where you build most of your chairs is a very, very good factory, arguably one of the top 5 Chinese factories that build massage chairs. Secondly, what I really like is that you guys have boots on the ground at that factory, not that work for the factory, not who work for the factory, but who work for you, but they go to do quality control checks, like random third-party quality control checks. And I've met him when I was at the factory 6-7 years ago. I met Wizard, and I was impressed with the idea that you had this guy hired to go and do quality control checks. Yeah. And I think that also lends to part of the difference that makes your chairs good.
Absolutely. And for people that don't understand that, it's obviously, like I said earlier, the amount of technology in a massage chair, it's way more complicated than your computer, your TV, just about anything you have in your home. It's loaded with sensors, motors. There's probably miles of wire in there. There's all kinds of PCB boards. There's air compressors, etc. There's a ton of technology in a massage chair. I should say, when you get to mid-level and above, some of the entry-level chairs are there's not much going on, but certainly in anything that's an Infinity product, there's a ton of technology. And the folks that we have overseas, Doctor, and just to kind of put a bow on that, every single product that's made for Infinity, the product gets completely built and thoroughly tested, and then we get boxed up and we get shipped. The gentleman that you mentioned, Wizard goes into any factory that we work with, and before that product's going to be shipped, Wizard will walk in and say, take that chair, that chair, that chair, that chair, that chair, and that chair, unbox them, set them up, and he literally goes through them again and spot check. So when we ship a product out to a user, we're usually well beyond 5 nines that we know it's going to perform like it's supposed to.
Yeah, that's good to know. And of course, you have, and for those rare occasions where there is a problem with the chair, you do have the support team to take care of that, and we appreciate that. David's also asking one last question here. What are the key manufacturers of massage chairs? I think he's asking what are the main, the key manufacturing companies in China. I would say yours is, I don't know, I guess maybe you could answer that more than I can, of course.
Yeah, there's a few. I mean, is he asking what are the main brands that I consider in the U.S.? I would probably think.
No, I think he's asking what are the good factories in China. If you think, is that what you're asking, David?
What's that?
I'm just asked David if that's what he's asking. I'm
Okay.
sure he's responding, but I know that there's probably, I mean, I'd probably say 4 or 5 off the top of my head that produce good chairs and are reputable chairs and are reputable factories. Yours is one.
Agree.
Yeah,
I would agree. And the key, it's not as much the factory, Dr. Widener, that matters. It's the organization that's producing the product. One of the stories I tell is if anybody had a few $100,000, they could go over, whether they went to Taiwan, Japan, Korea, China, and they wanted to go in a massage chair business. You could go over and they'd have a catalog and you could flip through pages and you, can I sell that in the US? Oh yeah, sure. And you give them a couple $100,000, they ship you some chairs and you're in the massage chair business. And as you know, Doctor, that happens on a regular basis. And those people that buy a chair and then it breaks and then the company's gone.
Yeah.
But what matters is not as much the factory as the product development and the QC when you go through that process. So like I mentioned David Figler earlier, I think David is literally a genius, the amount of information that the gentleman deals with and processes, but his knowledge of what makes a product work and work effectively is greater than anybody I've ever seen. So on the front end, we have David working with a facility to make sure that they have the QC and the quality in place to build a great product. And then we manage that through the entire process. And then we QC it on the back end. So if somebody wants to go in the massage chair business, if they don't get lucky and pick a top tier factory, they're going to end up with a product that's subpar. And even the best manufacturers in the world, whether that's Mercedes or BMW, they still have product recalls where they've made mistakes. And what really matters is the organization that is producing the product and what their QC is and what their process is to take a product from a concept to an actual finished product that you're going to deliver to a consumer.
Yeah. I appreciate that. Those are great insights. And it is more than just the building of the chair. It's the QC's huge. Quality control is what you're saying when you say QC. That's huge. And that fellow Wizard, that he kind of contributes to that. He's part of your QC process.
Oh, absolutely. When we develop a new chair, it's a long process. I mean, for Infinity, our average is probably a year from a concept to developing. And the people that go over and say, "Oh, I like this. Can I sell it?" In a massage chair business in 3 months, what you're going to get is something that's low quality, that has all kinds of issues. And when
Yeah.
we're going through our development process, that's 9 to 18 months long, to bring what we call a U.S. quality ready product for the U.S. market. Wizard, and we have a couple of folks over there. It's not just Wizard. We have another gentleman, Andrew. They're in the facilities constantly, and they literally, a lot of times when David Figler isn't overseas, and he usually goes, pre-COVID, he was typically over there 3 or 4 times a year. They're in the facilities nonstop and doing QC, but also working through development things where we want changes in programming and features and functionality that above and beyond the capabilities that a facility may have in that day and age. And they're the ones over there pushing the envelope forward and working through the issues and the challenges to bring that technology to fruition.
Yeah. You know, we need to have David Figler maybe be a guest on our live streaming. I think his knowledge base would be fantastic.
Oh yeah,
I'm,
he's
yeah,
incredible.
especially for product development. That's something that I never even realized we could tap into. So, let him know that I'll probably be getting a hold of him at some point.
I'll let him know. I'm sure he'd love to.
Now, there's a question. One question, one comment. Guy, hi, Guy. He's one of our customers. Also, he said the biggest challenge for him when he was looking for a chair is finding them to sit in, because a lot of people want to sit in the things before they decide on them, and I wholeheartedly agree with that. And his comment is it's hard to find them, especially if you're in a place where, like, what if you're in a small town USA and you don't have access? It makes it very, very difficult.
Yeah, and again, like I said, lending itself to the takeoff and the bell curve. It was really unfortunate when we lost Brookstone, because Brookstone in the malls, like you talked about, Dr. Widener, even if it was a low end share, they had some exposure. Some of the things that I can say for Infinity is one of the markets that we didn't get into really until about 2018, 19 was the retail brick and mortar furniture dealers and mattress dealers and pool and spa dealers. And today, if you go on the Infinity website, there's a dealer locator, and you can go on the dealer locator and look for dealers close to you. We also do road shows in Costco, but they're not there full time. We go in for about 10 days and demonstrate a couple of products, and then they're gone. So that's a bit of a hit or miss. But and I think they may even be on our dealer locator. I'm not sure, but my best suggestion would be to go to dealer locators. And I'm sure it's not just us. Anybody that I would consider a real brand in the U.S. and is, like I said, I think there's only a few of them, is the only people I'd ever recommend somebody to buy a massage chair from. If they don't have a dealer locator on their website, they're probably not a real brand in the U.S. that you'd want to deal with. But go to those dealer locators and hopefully you can find somebody that's within reason to drive to.
Well, unless they sell direct to consumer online, and again, that has its own set of problems that you've got to deal with.
Doctor, it always amazes me that usually somebody that comes to your showroom or goes online is a potential user that sat in a massage chair somewhere. And when we got into the industry early on, it always amazed me that people were buying massage chairs that they hadn't sat in. And it's almost like buying a car that you don't test drive. It still amazes me today. But as you know, it happens. That's probably where the most unhappy buyers come from, is folks that buy chairs without testing them.
Yeah, and it is amazing to me. Some will spend $10,000 on a chair, but we don't hear a word from them. They're happy. So I like you said earlier, hey, any massage chair is better than no massage chair.
Absolutely.
So if they're not accustomed to having it, it feels fantastic. But once you go to a store like ours, then you become an expert, and you really do. You become very, you
Oh
become
yeah.
very attuned to what each chair can do, and now all of a sudden, now you become discriminating. And okay, this chair is not for me. This one I like. This one. This one's better.
And
Um,
that's where the whole entry level thing is a bit perplexing. I certainly don't want to take away from any chair is better than not having a chair. I wholeheartedly agree with that. But I feel like more often than not, the people that buy a $2,000-3,000 massage chair, like I think, and you said it, doctor, in your showroom, if they were exposed, if they actually went out and sat in four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, $10,000 massage chair, there's a great chance that they'd figure out a way to work that into their budget, whether it's by financing or whatnot, versus going out and buying that cheaper chair that more than likely, I always say, when you buy that cheaper chair, when you come across a chair that has a lot more feature functionality, you're going to understand how disappointed you are in that lower end product that you purchased.
yeah, yeah. Once you know the difference, you can never go back.
Exactly.
Okay, so I've got, and we're coming up on the hour. We've got a couple more questions. Chad is asking. He says, "Infinity does Costco tours. Can you explain how that works?"
Yeah.
And then we'll finish the last question after that.
Sure. I just mentioned it. It's something we do around the country. We typically, the program, the roadshow is usually in a club for 10 days. Our folks will go in on a Thursday night and set up, and then they're there during regular Costco hours, open to close, from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then they break down. If you haven't purchased, they break down, and then Monday they're gone. And so we do a number of those around the country. We've been working with Costco road shows. I want to say we started back in like 2016, 2017-ish. So it's, if you're a member of Costco, we have some good products in there. Costco has a say story, based on their buying power and their volume and their vetting of suppliers. You're usually going to get a good product for a good price.
And the other question is also regarding Costco. What models do you have at Costco? I know you used to have the Evolution Max, which is the same as the Genesis Max that we carry. But what other models do you carry at Costco?
Yeah, right now, yeah, we just changed the lineup. We had the 8500 X3 in there. Right now, we have the Evolution Max, and we have a new syner-D chair that we literally just launched, like a month or so ago. It's called the Imperial. Remember, we used to have an Imperial years ago, Doctor. It's Imperial syner-D is the two chairs in the lineup in Costco. So there's a more traditional L track, and there's one of our latest split track dual mechanism chairs in the Costco Roadshow program.
Okay, and this derail fellow also asks, or I'm sorry, man or woman, is asking, are Infinity chairs at Relax the Back stores?
No, Infinity chairs aren't Relax the Back stores. Relax the Back was purchased by Human Touch. So most of the products, as I understand it today, and I certainly don't take this as 100%. I'm not an expert on Relax the Back, but most of the products in Relax the Backs, as I understand, are mostly Human Touch products. I believe they do have some other like zero gravity chairs from some other suppliers, but it was one of the reasons that I understood Human Touch used to be in the furniture world a little bit. They used to have showrooms, but I think once they bought Relax the Back, they were then competing directly with furniture stores, and they kind of moved out of trying to put their product in the brick and mortar furniture world when they went out and purchased. I think there's about 70 or 80 Relax the Backs around the country, but currently, no, we are not. Human Touch is one of the companies I consider a real brand in the U.S. And so as you could say, in a way that we're competitors. So I don't think Human Touch would want to put Infinity products in their stores that are that'll relax the back. So we'd love to go in, but I'm not sure they'd like to have us.
Well, thank you, Jim. I appreciate a lot of the questions that were asked brought up some great topics for discussion. And I appreciate everybody's comments. If you don't mind waiting for a second, we're going to see our, I'm going to move us over to the other screen to do our giveaway for the book. And then we'll announce who the winner is of that. Now, this is the first time I've done this also. I hope I do this right. Okay, we want to present. We're going to show a screen. We're going to go to the giveaway tool. And then we're going to click draw.
There you go.
Let's see what it does. It's kind of cool, isn't it?
That is. Oh, here it comes.
David
LaRocco Chairs is on there, David. They're spying on us.
David, you might want to, I would encourage, oh, just a minute. How do we stop sharing that? Just a minute. There we go. Stop sharing. Hey, we did pretty good our first time.
That was great.
What I would do, David, if you could send me your mailing address, I'll send the book out to you today or tomorrow. But thank you for attending, and thank everybody for attending. I really appreciate this. I was pleasantly surprised with the turnout. Jim, I'm very, very thankful for you for being here and sharing your expertise with us. I do want people to know that we do sell Infinity massage chairs on the website. Of course, we do price match and whatnot and things like that. But I know you have different channels that you sell different models through. But if you have any questions for us, you can give us a call at that number for our chair pricing for the Infinity chairs.
Could I make one closing comment, Doctor, that
yes.
I don't think I've touched upon?
Please.
And I think I'd be remiss for your listeners not to hear it, is that we've always really appreciated our partnership with Massage Chair Relief and Dr. Widener for one main reason. Dr. Widener will always give you the truth. He may not tell you what you want to hear, but he's going to recommend what he thinks is the best product for you in your price range. And from a standpoint of honest and integrity, which is how we built the company that's Infinity, Dr. Widener is one of our great partners because he runs his business the same way. His end game is always to do what's best for the customer. And as we all know today, that's not always the case in business. And it's one of the reasons why we've always enjoyed our relationship, and we've always had such a strong partnership. So I wanted to make sure that all your listeners heard that as well, Doctor.
I appreciate it. That was not a paid endorsement.
No, it was not. It was absolutely not.
Not a paid endorsement. But I'd like to also mention just briefly for people that don't know, every chair we sell, we donate a portion of it to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. I've been doing this for a few years, well, since we started the business, and we've donated, I think, over $110,000. And we're very, very proud of that association. So just for those of you that do purchase from us, know that a portion of that money does go to a cause that I really believe in. I have 6 kids, 6 grandkids. I have a daughter who has diabetes, and so Make-A-Wish is a big deal to me. So I just wanted to get that little plug in there. Anyways, but that's it for our first live stream, and I think it went really well. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Thank you, Jim. Any parting shots?
Thank you, Doctor. It was great to see you. Great to be with you.
You bet. And I'll post this on our YouTube and Facebook channels, and also on our blog. So people can reference this later as well. But we appreciate everybody here today. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks, Doctor. Take care.
See ya. Bye now, everybody.